Alright, so I'm going to start off by sort of explaining the purpose of this video, who it's sort of targeted towards, and then what I'm going to talk about. So I don't really want to think of this video as like a complete guide on how to play Tracer. The goal is more to provide like a framework for what you should be thinking about when you're playing the hero, and some of the key points that you really need to consider in terms of decision making. So yeah, I'd say like in terms of who it's targeted towards, it's definitely targeted more towards advanced players. I'm kind of like assuming that you're already pretty mechanically comfortable on Tracer, but I think that like pretty much everyone could benefit from at least something in the video. So yeah, the main points I'm going to talk about are specifically posturing, routing, and target priority. Considering that like in general a lot of Tracer's threat comes from the fact that she can engage and disengage from targets pretty much like the fastest out of any hero in the game, and she can also play like a lot of positions that you couldn't really play on other DPS just because it'd be too risky, like if you were playing Kree or Soldier or something like that. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so let's start off with posturing. So the idea of posturing is pretty much just putting yourself in positions where you're able to follow up effectively on whatever happens. So say like your tank initiates, or someone's out of position, or you get a call that someone's low. This leads me to something which I think is like probably the most important point in the video, which is that Tracer's primary purpose is really not to make hero plays or always go for hard flanks and try and get solo kills. This is like really apparent now with how she's been balanced in Overwatch 2 with the damage changes. And it's something I really see a lot with lower rated players. Like they see an Ana like in the back line, and then they use all three blinks, and then the Ana gets peeled and recall gets forced, and then now they're like just out of the fight for like the next 15 seconds. So a good way I like to think about it is that if you position yourself properly on Tracer, the kills should be coming to you and not the other way around. So positioning is like a pretty broad term, and in general there isn't always a best spot to play for every point on every map, but there are lots of things that you can look for to help you identify in the moment where you should posture yourself for a fight. So the first, and I think most important quality of a good position on Tracer is the ability to stay flexible. So like I said earlier, Tracer has really good mobility, and fights are often really dynamic in Overwatch, so having your options open is always really beneficial to make a play depending on whatever happens in the fight. The second quality is you want to be positioned in a spot that gives you a lot of information. This could be literally seeing other players, or playing in a position that denies certain parts of the map from the other team. And this sort of directly ties into my last point, because having good information is necessary in order to oftentimes make the right play. And then the last thing is kind of an obvious one, it's also important, is that your position has to be safe. So for Tracer specifically, this just means playing in a spot where you can use recall effectively, as well as always having an option to fall back, or like playing around packs and stuff like that. So with all that in mind, this is why like a lot of the time you'll want to be playing high ground whenever you can, since naturally like it has like the first two qualities. Let's look at an example here. So in this clip, we're on parry, so defense, and the other team has just capped first. And you notice the first thing I do here is I'm looking to position myself on the left side high ground here. And if we pause and just look at this spot, it pretty much like covers every base I just mentioned. So it's really flexible, since I can always like blink on the front line into choke. I can peel from my back line, who is most likely going to be positioned on the high ground to my right or the high ground behind me. And I'm in a good spot to follow up for a graph pulse if I need to. I have vision of main and both flanks, and in this case I'm actually denying a lot of space, specifically on the left flank, since if they go left they just have to go underneath me. And I have good cover, I have good LOS in my healers. If I need to blink and engage, I can always recall back up to high ground so it's safe, and then there's also a mega underneath me if I need it.
only have one on.
And so you'll see what happens in this fight.
Can't touch.
First of all is, from the spot, I'm able to help pressure the Kree here, which results in a kill.
Oh,
So we hit a good anti. Off that anti, get good damage on the Kree.
Nice.
He dies, and Bap dies as well.
And
And then when the enemy's Zarya here
The headshots are nasty.
gets really greedy and she uses both bubbles, I end up jumping her, and I get another free kill. So routing is essentially the path that you're taking in order to move from position to position. So the most important part about routing is being cognizant of where you're sort of showing yourself on the map. So let's say like the other team has a Widow, and the Widow is playing from back here, right? If you know the Widow is there, it's obvious that, you know, you're going to position yourself to sort of play outside of her LOS whenever it's possible. Now imagine like, you know, you're attacking and you have zero sight of this Widow. Like you peeked high ground, you don't see her, and all of a sudden now you have to be like a lot more aware of like a potential flank or off angles just because she's not showing on the map. And with Tracer, it's the exact same thing. So if you don't show on the map, the other team has to adjust. Like they might play more groups or be discouraged from taking a flank and getting caught out just because, you know, you could be anywhere on Tracer. An example of routing here and staying off the map, let's say I want to, you know, I'm coming out of spawn and I want to get on this bridge, which is like a pretty good position for a Tracer to play. Instead of, you know, taking a normal route, which might be I come out top right and blink onto the bridge, right? Or maybe I come out main and path like this and go up the stairs. I think like a better route in this example would be actually coming out left side spawn, right? Because I'm coming out left side spawn, the other team hasn't seen me, and now they have to be more aware of, you know, any sort of play I could be doing. So I could be taking a big flank from behind, I could be, you know, underneath, I could even just be chilling here on coast, and like if I'm a Widow, for example, right, like I might be really discouraged from playing this angle because I don't know, the Tracer might blink on me from here, Tracer might be here, blink on me, right? I just haven't seen the Tracer. Lastly, I'm going to go over target priority and more broadly how you should sort of be planning to engage in fights in general. So something I think that's really, really important for Tracer and not a lot of people talk about is sort of having an idea of how you want to play the fight before the fight even starts. So this could be looking for like a specific pulse target, right? Like focusing certain targets to force cooldowns out, or even just coordinating like a specific dive target. This clip on Lijiang here is a good example of pre-fight planning and the target priority that I'm usually doing before a fight begins. And you'll notice that what happens in this clip is like in the first clip, I was sort of able to capitalize off like the anti and then the bad bubble management, and I get kills on the front line. But in here you'll see like the importance of remaining flexible. And what happens here is that the enemy team has Nano and they're going to engage with Nano Monkey. So instead of focusing the Monkey, who I know I have zero chance of killing, I'm aiming and talking to my Monkey saying, hey, we should go trade their backline.
They use beat there.
Primal the fight before.
Yeah. Probably gonna Nano Monkey here. I'm gonna play right side and we just like try and trade when they Nano Monkey, okay?
So you see here, I'm playing on right side. I'm going to be able to go and crunch this Ana on the bridge.
I'm on Sojourn once.
I'm on Ana one.
Right.
No sleep, no
So
sleep.
get a kill on the Ana. You also notice, because of my positioning, the fact that I'm crunching from right side, that I'm actually denying her the Mega. So that actually ends up resulting in a kill on her.
Ignore Monkey, yeah. I'm looking for Lucio.
1 HP.
Lucio dead?
I'm calling to even just completely ignore the Monkey. And after that, I'm looking for my next target, which is Lucio, even though I have zero vision of him. And I'm doing this because, first of all, I have a general idea of where he's going to be. I know that he's going to be around point. And the fact that, based off of how the fight's gone, he's both the highest value target, since he's the only support, and the easiest kill compared to anyone else. In that case, is like a Winston and Tracer, who have a lot less chance of getting a kill on. I think I'll just conclude this video by sort of saying that like these are sort of general guidelines that I think about when I'm playing Tracer and how I think that she's supposed to be played. By no means are any of these things like set in stone. And like I said, like Overwatch is really dynamic. So the way you play a fight is not always going to be the exact same. Sometimes it will be right depending on like their comp. Maybe you do want to abuse the back line. Maybe you do want to farm like a tank who's, you know, playing too aggressive on the front line, stuff like that. But again, these are just sort of like these general guidelines I think are really important for the character if you want to improve. So yeah, that's it. If you want to watch some of my Tracer gameplay, I stream a lot on twitch.tv/zerocelerity. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Soldier low. Soldier 1 dead. More low.